Alright, well, I finished The Realm of the Elderlings, so I guess it's time to talk about a booktube darling. I want to start this video by saying thank you to my patrons. Thank you for supporting my passion. Hey everyone, welcome back to Andrew's Wizardly Reads, and as always guys, I am Andrew, and today we are finally talking about the end of The Realm of the Elderlings and how I felt about it. But before we get into that, make sure you are liking and subscribing, hitting that bell notification so you can get regular updates for when I put out new content. Also, make sure you're checking that description box down below for the links to the Wizardly Duo Discord, as well as links to all my social media and information about my Patreon, where I do quarterly giveaways, early access to videos, and we can occasionally chat on video as well within the Discord. That said, guys, I recently wrapped up the Fitz and the Fool trilogy about a month ago. And I kind of want to sit here and talk about it. Alright, quick cut in here from editing Andrew. I just want to say that I normally don't do rant reviews. And so this kind of just ended up being a full spoiler rant review. So just keep that in mind that I let the review get away from me and ended up going full rant on this one. Now, we are only going to be discussing the last two trilogies, or the last two sub-series here in The Realm of the Elderlings. If you have not read these, please click away, because I am going to be discussing and talking spoilers. Now, that said, when it comes to The Realm of the Elderlings, for me personally, as my personal reading experience, I feel like the story should have ended here at Fool's Fate. This is book 9 in The Realm of the Elderlings, and to me, this is the best ending to this story that we could have ever had. Now, you'll notice up here I have displayed the Realm of the Elderlings books, but I do not have the Rain Wild books or the Fitz and the Fool books. That's because I've unhauled them. I do not have them anymore. I did not really enjoy this reading experience, and we're going to kind of dive into why that is. Now, mostly non-spoiler for the Rain Wild Chronicles, mainly because I've purged it from my memory. I did not really enjoy this reading experience whatsoever. Structurally, the books are very stretched out. We have 4 books here. I believe it starts with Dragon Keeper, Haven, Blood, and City of Dragons. And those are probably out of order. The only reason I read these books was because they were written by Robin Hobb. And Robin Hobb is, honestly, up onto Fool's Fate, The Realm of the Elderlings is one of my top series of all time. It is so amazing. I loved Farseer. I really enjoyed Ship of Destiny. And Tawny Man blew my socks off. So, when I was told that Rain Wild Chronicles was a little bit different, I went in with very low expectations. And even then, my expectations were still too high. This is very much a situation where the publisher got involved. It was supposed to be 2 books, and they stretched it to 4. So that means we have a lot of filler here. And the filler is not good. I did not like any of the characters. I liked the setting. That's about it. I liked exploring the Rain Wilds. I liked exploring Kelsingra. I liked the journey to Kelsingra. I did not like the relationships between the characters. I did not like the dragons. I did not like the aspect of going tribal and of these teenagers just vying to figure who's going to mate with who. And that, of course, because they are no longer in the Rain Wilds, the rules no longer apply to them. So they're going to have just all sorts of orgies and sleep together. And, of course, the women are going to be down for this, despite the risks, even if they say no. I absolutely hated this aspect of the Rain Wilds, and it absolutely ruined the experience. Again, I didn't like the dragons. The dragons in this, like the dragons in the Realm of the Elderlings, are already a lot to deal with. Because, you know, they're dragons. They have an air of superiority. The dragons in the Rain Wilds are born deformed, and yet they are very much inferior dragons. They can't fly. They don't have their memories. They can't use their magic. I mean, they can do a little bit of the compulsion, and like they can like form bonds with keepers and make elderlings. That's it. They're very much just these useless creatures that are demanding to be fed, demanding to be taken care of, demanding respect, all while not being able to back it up. And I found them to be petulant. I found them to be annoying. I found them to be not well written at all. For me, the dragons within the Rain Wild Chronicles are the worst dragons in all of fantasy. So, those are my thoughts right there on the Rainwild Chronicles. I did not enjoy that experience at all, which is why I don't own the books anymore, because they don't need to be on my shelf if I'm never going to reread them. Now, Fitz and the Fool is a different story. I had heard from multiple people that the Fitz and the Fool trilogy was a return to form, that this was the definitive ending to the Realm of the Elderlings, that it was going to absolutely bring me to tears. And I've got an unpopular opinion, guys, because I don't own the books anymore. I did not like this reading experience as well. It was a slight return to form because we do come back to Fitz. And the first book is very good. We get to meet B. Farseer, or I guess B. Badgerlock, I would say, because Fitz now has another daughter, and it's very interesting, kind of, because you can clearly, see very early on from this series that B is different. And we get to kind of explore Fitz being Holder Badgerlock and living with Molly, and everything that their love has blossomed into, and the tragedy that strikes the family when Molly dies in this book. One of the great things in this series is that Fitz gets acknowledged as a Farseer. Now that is something I loved. And I will say, there are moments of brilliance here within the book. However, in the second book of this trilogy, we do a thing at the end of the first book where Fitz is reunited with the Fool after decades, doesn't recognize him, and because the Fool has dared to touch B out in public, Fitz resorts to violence and fatally stabs the Fool. Just bam, 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 right in the side, just shanks him. For no reason. Overreacts. Way, way overreacts. And then this really slows down the narrative in the second book as Fitz is trying to save the Fool and nurse him back to health. We realize that the Fool who went back to Claris has been tortured, and it's this really sob story. And one of the things that I think Robin Hobb does here is there are weaker story elements within this, because the story does not flow very well and it does not make a whole lot of sense. Like I said, Fitz way overreacts to the situation and fatally stabs somebody, when in the entirety of the series, we've never really seen Fitz do that, so it's very out of character. But then we spend 300 pages while Fitz nurses the Fool back to health, just to keep Fitz separated from B so that she can get kidnapped by the Claris group, because they then think that B is the unexpected son, despite the fact that they find out within this trilogy she's a girl, and they just keep on with this narrative that she's the unexpected son. She is the unexpected son. No, she's not. That whole storyline did not end up working for me. And that's kind of another complaint that I have here with this series, is the entire of the Realm of the Elderlings. We have been talking about the Whites, and they're mysterious, and they're far off, and it takes months and forever to get there. But everybody knows where Claris is in this book. Everybody in Chalced knows where Claris is. Oh yeah, it's just a boat ride over there. Paragon's been to Claris. It demystifies everything, and it answers too many questions. And then we come to find out the Whites are just incredibly inept, and they're petty, and they're malicious, and which we kind of got hints on in Tawny Man, but not as inept as they are delivered to be with it here in this series. So B gets captured in the second one, abused and beaten, and just overall treated very, very poorly. And then Fitz goes after her, of course, with the Fool and everything like that. Now, when we get to the final book, the entire structure just speeds all the way up, because all of a sudden we have to go on this tour of the Realm of the Elderlings, meeting people from Lifeship Traders, meeting people from the Rain Wilds, because we, of course, have to go to Kelsingra and we have to go to the Pirate Isles, despite the fact that the entire storyline of going to the Pirate Isles didn't need to happen. It didn't need to be included in the book. It adds nothing to the narrative other than fan service. A lot of the complaints that I have is the silver that we discover in Kelsingra. Silver was introduced all the way back in Assassin's Quest, and it gets turned into this giant MacGuffin. It just demystifies everything. Basically, we find out that if a dragon drinks enough silver, it doesn't matter that their flesh was left behind hundreds of years ago. No, they can just generate new flesh and turn from wizard wood into dragons, which makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. That entirety magic system just felt off. It felt wrong. We kill off legacy characters that never needed to be brought back. And then we have Fitz die a absolutely stupid death. Basically, Fitz has gotten to be finally, and the entirety of Claris is burning down. And Fitz thinks, hey, you know what? There's people in this tunnel with a torch, but I'm just going to go grab one in this building that's burning down so that I can then get trapped and get separated from the group and have a fake out death. And I did not like that at all. Only to have him survive in the end, despite the fact that the fool says, hey, he's dead. And then Night Eyes, somehow, who's been dead for 30 years, preserves Fitz so that he can survive only to die 200 pages later because he's been infested with some maggots that Claris uses that eats the body from within. So then Fitz has to go make a storm dragon, just like Verity did, which, don't get me wrong, I kind of like the end of the story because it has a nice circular nature to it. However, separating him from the group was completely unnecessary. He could have thought he was fine, made it back with B, only to discover, he was dying and he had to go form a stone dragon. One of the things of having Night Eyes, be an actual entity is this goes against the lore of the story. We are told by the Old Blood that it is just an echo, that they're not an actual spirit, they're not an entity, and we seem to not address that at all. And Night Eyes is very much present within the story, despite the fact that he's supposed to be dead, therefore invalidating his death here in Fool's Errand. And it just felt unnecessary because, we've struggled with Fitz not forming a new wit bond, which I completely agree with. But at the same time, okay, sure. I guess he's just been here all along, passing through the bloodstream, and he can be with B, and he can be with Fitz, and just all sorts of things going on here. There's a lot of stuff that's addressed and demystified. Come to find out, Katrikan always knew that it was Fitz who came to her bed and is therefore technically the biological father of the king and not Verity. There's just a whole bunch of stuff here. It's implied that Shade, Fallstar's kids had a sexual relationship because they didn't know that they were siblings. It's just a whole bunch of stuff that I didn't really need. And so, honestly, the entire trilogy kind of falls flat for me. And that is why I say, for me, Fool's Fate is where it should have ended. This ends on a very happy note. We have Fitz with Molly. They have been reunited. Yeah, there's some stuff that's left open and mystical, but I think that's the main problem here of the Rain Wild and the Fitz and the Fool trilogy, is it answers too many questions. You can either answer not enough questions in a series, or you can answer too many of them. And I think Robin Hobb went way too far and answered way too many questions that we, the reader, didn't really need to know. Storylines just kind of get resolved, like the others just get wiped out by dragons and kind of an offhand screen, because we didn't really know what to do with them since the live ship traders, but of course we had to wrap up that not hanging story thread, and so then we get thrown a line of, oh yeah, the dragons just went and wiped them out because of reasons. Overall, I've got a lot more complaints. I could go on and rant and rant and rant. Obviously, we now know that I am not a fan of the last 7 books of the Realm of the Elderlings. So my personal recommendation is to stop here at Fool's Fate, unless, of course, you want to be a completionist and you want to read all of the Realm of the Elderlings. Now, I know these opinions are kind of going against the grain. This is my personal reading experience. I don't normally go on a rant, but I felt like this needed to kind of get out there because I've just been sitting here in my feelings trying to decide if I was going to do this video or not. So please let me know in the comments down below what your personal reading experience is here with the Realm of the Elderlings. And so let's have a good old discussion in the comments down below. And as always, guys, till next time, peace out, stay magical, bye. And as always, I want to give a huge thank you to my patrons.